This is Joe's Corner 76. I'll be talking to you about the human condition. In order to change it, we have to be involved. What's up, Canada, eh? I've been thinking about the state of the country, where we're at and where we maybe could be going. I look at the government's big push on diversity. They want a diverse country, but it seems to me what they're creating is a disunited country, where one region's competing against another region, where one region's fighting with another region, where one group's trying to be more important than the other group, like the woke versus all of the rest of us. I look at Canada's green energy policy pushed by the Liberals. They seem to think that we can reach net zero emissions by 2050. The rest of the world knows it's not possible. Canada is one of the largest producers of gas and oil in the world. The world needs it, we need it. Why are we selling only to the Americans our gas and oil and losing $24 billion a year when we could be selling our natural gas to our allies who need it now more than ever in view of the war with Russia and the loss of the energy there, in view of the amount of CO2 that India and China are pumping out that could be replaced by natural gas? Why are we not building the pipelines to send it out to the rest of the world? We're looking at promises made to various people, like Indigenous people. Promise, 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 never met. We're being told that we're a racist country. We're being told that just because we're born a certain color, we should be considered privileged. We should always feel guilty. Why do I have to feel guilty having never done anything except being born? I acknowledge there is racism. I acknowledge that there's discrimination, but not to the extent that this government's trying to make it. There's not a full racial problem in this country, only a certain amount. We're working on it, we're trying to get better. I look at job growth during the pandemic and now. I find it awfully strange that the highest rate of growth was among government employees. Some were maybe needed, but are they all needed now? If we've got more employees, why are we getting less results? How come we got lineups at the passport, lineups at the airport? And for the love of God, how can this government justify Arrive Canada? All it's done is cause delays, frustration, expense, and they do not have any proof that it's going to work. Yet it appears Trudeau would like to keep it for a long time. When I look at inflation, what caused it? I wonder if part of the inflation was caused by the massive amount of government spending. Yes, some was required during the pandemic, but it's still continuing, it's increasing, and it's going to cause massive problems. Now, inflation caused by this and other factors, but largely this, is going to cost Canadians a lot more to buy food, buy transportation, buy housing, pay for their education and other essentials. And there doesn't seem to be a plan to bring it down. I wonder if, like you, I do, where the Bank of Canada was. They told me, don't worry, it's okay. Inflation's going to be fairly low. They told a lot of people, don't worry, go out, you can buy houses. Now they're finding out their houses may be worth more in mortgages than they actually are in property value. We're in for a round of rate increases now that possibly could have been avoided, but not now. I look at freedom, freedom, freedom. That's a word that's used all the time, everywhere in the media. It's on people's lips. What does freedom mean? Freedom seems to mean whatever the liberals, in this case, think it should mean. They've got bills that they want to control our internet. They've got bills that they want to control what's published. They've got bills on what they think should be considered hate crimes. They want to tell us what is politically correct and is not politically correct. In other words, they've got laws on the books right now that do control hate crime, and we've got the Charter of Rights. What they seem to want to do is throw out the Charter of Rights and twist the laws to benefit them, not us. It seems now, too, that we're going to have the Liberals in power for quite a while because a non-elected governing party called the NDP is trying to force the government into plans that they say, if you don't do this, we won't support the government. That's not the kind of government we want. We want a government that if the people support it, they do. If the people don't support it, they don't. And when I look at what's happening with our populations in general, I kind of wonder. We don't have enough energy to control prices. We're not able to control inflation. We're being told what to think and how to feel. I want the country back that I knew, and a country that could continue. Do you not want to have a free country where you can think what you want, where you can do what you want, within the law, of course? Do you want a country that says, we value individual initiative. We want you to become entrepreneurs. We want you to come up with ideas. We support you. We're going to go out of our way to get rid of archaic legislation. We know you're regulated to death. It costs you billions of dollars that aren't being invested. These regulations are driving industries out. Do you want a place where people that come up with ideas have support? Do you want a place where you keep your money, not the government? Do you want a place where taxes are used wisely, but not where you're overtaxed just for the sake of pushing agendas that you may not agree with? Are you looking for a country that says, hey, if I'm going to have a new program, I'm going to tell you as a politician how it's going to be financed, where I'm going to get the money, or I'm not going to do it. And if I come up with a new program, I'm going to look at where it can have the economy adjusted and cut where it's unnecessary. I'm looking for a government that says, you know what? We realize it's your money, not ours. We have to show you that we're spending it wisely. We respect who you are. And we know that we are servants of the people, not you thinking we are servants of the government. So, at this point, I'm very upset with the apathetic attitude of the large number of people that don't vote They say, what does it matter? My vote doesn't count. What can I do? Well, you know what? Just one vote can change a riding. Just one vote can put maybe your member in Parliament. One person, one man, one vote can make a difference when it's used by everyone. So at this point, let's look at what we want the future of Canada to be. Do we want individual freedom? Do we want less government control? Do we want more emphasis on individualism? Do we want more honesty about what they're going to do in future? Not saying things like, hey, we're protecting you from guns, but in reality what they're doing is closing down lawful gun owners and letting the gangbangers go on with what they're doing. As a matter of fact, they're easing the sentences that they can be put under. Do we want a government that listens to us, that gives us what we need rather than what they think we need? Do we want to be taxed less because they're spending less? Do we want to feel that we are a nation from coast to coast because our government works towards not dividing, but uniting the country, not favoring one section over the other, not trying to buy votes by concentrating on certain areas of the country and ignoring others? I want you to think and ask yourself, am I a Canadian? Not an Italian Canadian, not an African Canadian, not this, but I am Canadian. I want to see the country that was tolerant, civil, free, caring, that the world knew, not the one that we seem to project now. And if you agree with me, I strongly urge you to vote Conservative for change. Do not let this Liberal government, these elitists, and the liberal mass media persuade you that the Conservatives are racist, the Conservatives are pro-abortion. Don't let them stop getting the message out that the Conservatives want to balance the budget. They want you to have more money. They want to provide an outlet for energy. They want to drop the carbon tax. They want to have new programs funded if there's the money and not if there's not the money. They want to make this country free. They want to get rid of the media controls that have been put in. You know what? You voted for sunny days 3 terms ago. And you know what? We don't have sunny days. I think we have dark despair. So, Canada, don't bitch. Wake up. I don't mean become woke. Wake up. Think about what you need to do. Time now. Time now. It's now the time for change. It's now the time for renewal. It's now the time for the rebuilding of hope. It's now the time to try and say, I did my part in bringing back the Canada we knew and the Canada we should have. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Joe's Corner 76. You can hear me on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Radio Public, and YouTube at Joe's Corner 76.